Hello and welcome to another video for Midas Touch Toys, Games and Collectibles. And today we are looking at something now that is very, very old, very, very rare, and becoming incredibly collectible. We are looking at the 1964 release by Purnell from their series of children's books, and these books are for ages 5 to 9. And this particular one we're looking at today is of The Wizard of Oz, and it's based on the 1900s children's novel written by L. Frank Baum, of the story of Dorothy and Toto and them being swept away to the land of Oz, where they have to then try and find their way home, and they discover that the Wizard of Oz is not really all he's made out to be. But in order for them to get home, they have to go and destroy the Wicked Witch of the West, which is the stipulation that the wizard has put onto them, because he wants her magic and he wants her broomstick. Okay, so this is the book in front of us. Obviously, is the film. There was it's a massive film that was produced, which starred Judy Garland, which was made in 1939. But that's probably the film, the story that we all remember more vividly than anything else. But anyway, this is the book for children, and it is based on the actual novel, and it's been adapted for children aged 5 to 9. Okay, so this is the book in front of us. It says The Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum for ages 5 to 9. This is an adaptation of the beloved story, especially prepared for younger readers by Alan Chaffee. And there you can see a picture of Dorothy and Toto, with the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Lion. And it's all nice artwork image. Okay, that's the front of the book. Let's just turn it over to the back. And what have we got on the back? Well, we've got an image of, it looks like Alice in Wonderland there, but it says Winner Books, Grimm's Fairy Tales, Mother Goose, Black Beauty, Robin Hood, Wizard of Oz, Bambi's Children, Famous Indian Tribes, Robinson Crusoe, King Arthur, Hiawatha, Heidi, Pinocchio, Big Black Horse, Alice in Wonderland, and Great Trains of the World. And they're all Winner Books from Purnell. If we just have a look at the spline, it says Baum, The Wizard of Oz, and Purnell on the end there. Okay, that's the covers. Let's open it up and let's have a look at the contents. Okay, so I've opened the front of the book, and as I said, this is for the younger readers, so between ages between 5 and 9 it was geared for. So the text is slightly more geared for their understanding, and they all come, every page has an illustrated colour artwork image that refers to the text on the same page. So there we can see Dorothy riding the lion. You can see the Tin Man and the Scarecrow going towards Oz on the yellow brick road with Toto there. And this book looks like it was issued to somebody, Cayce House School, Progress Prize Class 2, 1966, and it was awarded to Douglas Smith. So 2 years after this book was produced. Okay, so let's move over, and again we've got black and white images there of the three characters, the Tin Man, the Lion, and the Scarecrow. And it says The Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum, adapted by Alan Chaffee, illustrated by Anton Loeb, prepared under the supervision of Josette Frank. You've got the Purnell logo, copyright 1964, 1960, 1950, 1930 or something it's got there. Random House Inc. And there we have copyright 1900, 1903 by L. Frank Baum and W. W. Denslow. Copyright 1928 and 1939 by Maud G. Baum. And the next of this abbreviated version, copyright 1950 by Maud G. Baum. The illustration of this abbreviated version, copyright 1950 by Random House Inc. Published by arrangement with Random House Inc., New York, New York. Made and printed in Great Britain by Purnell Sons Limited, Polton, Somerset, and London. So Maud G. Baum was either the daughter or maybe the spouse of Frank Baum. Anyway, so this is the very first page. And it says, so you can see the colour illustration. And it's got cyclone coming. Uncle Henry shouted, "I'll go look after the stock. Quick, Dorothy," Aunt Em screamed. "Run for the cellar." But Dorothy ran to get Toto, her little dog. He had jumped out of her arms and was hiding under the bed. Aunt Em threw open the trap door in the floor and climbed down the ladder into the small dark hole. Dorothy caught Toto at last and started towards the trap door to follow her aunt. Suddenly there came a great shriek from the wind. The house shook so hard that Dorothy lost her footing and found herself sitting on the floor. Then a strange thing happened. The house whirled around 2 or 3 times and rose slightly through the air. Dorothy felt dizzy as it rocked and swayed. It was very dark and the wind howled horribly around her, but soon the house seemed to be gliding more easily. Hour after hour passed. At last Dorothy crawled over the swaying floor to her bed and lay down. Toto kept close to her, and then Dorothy fell fast asleep. She was awakened by a great bump. Dorothy sat up. The house wasn't moving, and it was no longer dark outside. Sunshine came in at the window. Dorothy and her little dog ran outside. And you can see that some of the images are in black and white and some of them are in colour. And it says, a little old woman, all in sparkling white, stood smiling at her. Behind her, 3 little old men took off their hats and bowed. "Welcome," the little old woman said, "to the land of the Munchkins, and we are very grateful for you for killing the Wicked Witch of the East. You have set us free." "Did I kill her?" Dorothy could not understand. "Your house fell on her," replied the little old woman with a laugh, "and that is the same thing." She pointed to a corner of the house. Dorothy looked. An ugly old witch, all in black, was just fading away, all but her 2 feet in silver shoes. Dorothy was frightened. "Are you a witch?" she asked the little old woman. Okay, so that's the beginner story. I'm not going to go on and read every page because obviously it's going to go on for a while. But there is some great artwork, and you see the images somewhat based on Judy Garland's portrayal of Dorothy. The facial features are very much like Judy Garland, and the story tells you it's an abbreviated classic version of the Wizard of Oz story, and where Dorothy goes off to the Yellow Brick Road and she finds the Scarecrow, and then they find the Tin Man, who's all rusted up, and she puts some oil on him, and then they go and find the Lion, who's pretty much a bit of a coward. As Dorothy turns around and smacks him, he tells her that he's a coward and a scaredy cat, basically. But great artwork images of these pictures. I mean, the pictures are fantastic, and they accompany the text really, really nicely. And here we go on as they head towards Oz. And there's a lion fast asleep there and being pushed along by... Oh, that's because in the field of the poppies, which put them all to sleep. That's exactly right, yeah. And then they are... where are they now? I don't know. They're heading towards the land of Oz, I think. And there they are. They've arrived in Oz. And there's the wizard. So that's the picture that's on the back. It's the wizard and Dorothy, not Alice in Wonderland, as I said earlier. So there they are in Oz, and they go to see the great wizard, and there is the Wizard of Oz. And it says, next day Dorothy wore one of her pretty dresses she found in the closet and went to see Oz. The throne room was round with a high arched roof. The throne itself was like a chair, but it sparkled with emeralds. In the centre of it was an enormous head with no body, no arms, no legs. Dorothy heard it say, "I am Oz, the great and terrible. Who are you, and why do you seek me?" "I am Dorothy, the small and meek," she told him. "I have come for your help." The voice spoke again. "Where did you get the silver shoes?" "Oh," said Dorothy, "they belonged to the Wicked Witch of the East before my house fell on her and killed her." "And where did you get the magic mark on your forehead?" the voice asked. "Oh, that is where the good witch of the North kissed me. Goodbye," Dorothy told me. "She sent me to you." The great Oz asked, "And what do you wish me to do? Send me home to Kansas," she begged him. "What will you do for me in return?" Oz demanded. "What must I do?" Dorothy asked him. "Kill the Wicked Witch of the West," he answered. "How can I do that?" Dorothy cried. "You wear the silver shoes, and they bear a powerful charm," he told her. "I don't know what it is," Dorothy yelled. "Besides, remember," he said sternly, "this witch is wicked and ought to be killed. Now go." So there we are. So that's the wizard telling Dorothy to go off and kill the Wicked Witch of the West. And there's some great illustrations. So that's what they've set out to do. They've set out to go and destroy the Wicked Witch of the West. And the Wicked Witch of the West is obviously already hunting them as well, because Dorothy has killed her sister, the Wicked Witch of the East. And there we go. We come into the area where they meet the Wicked Witch, and Dorothy throws water on her and she melts away. And then they head back to Oz to see the wizard, back to Emerald City, and they find that the wizard is not a very powerful wizard at all. He's a little old man with a bald head and a wrinkled face, and he's a bit of a con artist. Anyway, he does give the three companions what they want, which the Tin Man wanted a heart, the Scarecrow wanted a brain, and the Lion wanted courage, which they all really had anyway. And then the wizard was about to take Dorothy home, but the balloon goes off without her. And then she goes to see the good witch Glinda again, and the Glinda says, well, you've had the ability to go home all this time. Simply knock your heels together 3 times, and away you go. And so she says goodbye to her friends, and off she goes, taps her heels together, and off she goes back home. And that brings us to the end of this abbreviated book. Okay, it's a nice little story, and it's great for the young, and it is now a very, very old book. 60 years ago, this particular book was produced. Not as old as the film. Remember, the film was in 1939, which was another 25 years prior to this book being produced. And the original book was released in 1900, so it's 124 years ago when the first book was released. So quite some time has passed on this story, but it is still one of the most popular stories out there, and it certainly has lasted the test of time. Even the movie still regularly appears on the television, usually towards Christmas. It's at least shown at least 2 or 3 times between the satellite channels. You can always find it on demand these days. So a very, very popular story, and still very popular in this day and age. So the movie was 1939, so what is that? That is getting on for 90 years, something like that, 85 years, something like that, since the movie was made, so a long, long time ago. But again, it's such a classic story, and obviously the musical had some amazing songs in it, so it's been which has obviously boosted the popularity of the story. So and then there was another movie that made return to Oz, which featured Diana Ross and Michael Jackson some years later, again, which was quite a popular film at the time, and again it boosted the popularity. And then of course you've got the new film, which is just about to come out, Wicked, which is all based on the Wicked Witch of the West's story, and all based on the stage production Wicked. So the story continues. So back in 1964, how well did this book do? Well, like any of the Wizard of Oz books, they were very popular. This particular one was bought by a school and given to a student back in 1966. But overall, these books done very well, and they were a great thing to get the kids into the stories of the past, or the classic stories of the past. And the kids would sit at their beds while their parents read this story of an evening before bedtime. So that was quite common. We had this book as children, and me and my sister would sit there while my parents would read us a few pages each night before we would go to bed. So that was pretty much common back in the days. Remember, there was no such things as videos and DVDs and streaming and internet and anything like that. So story time reading for children before they went to bed was very, very big, and it was a generational thing. My parents did it for us, and their parents did it for them, and so on and so on. So yeah, these books were very, very big, mass produced, and sold an awful lot of copies. Now let's move forward 60 years to 2024, where we are now. How often does this particular copy come up on the platforms? Well, you do see them from time to time appear on the platforms, but not very often now. 60 years on, being a children's book, you don't find that many of them have actually survived the test of time, which is a shame really, because they are very, very good books. But I mean, you can find the odd one or two on the platforms in various different degrees of condition. This particular one we're looking at today does have some wear on the corners and the edges of the cover, but internally it's very, very good, very, very good condition. And again, I have to stress, if you're buying on platforms, have a good look at the product. Don't just look at the pictures, because you may find they're stock pictures, and a lot of the platforms use stock images as opposed to images of the actual product. So you need to click on the used item that you're looking at, and then click on the images of that particularly used item to see the actual item you're going to get. As so many people have come to me and told me that they bought off the platforms, and what they thought they was getting was completely different to what arrived. So just a tip for you if you are thinking of buying on the platforms. Or alternatively, we at Miles Touch do things very differently. So for every different version of the same item, we have different products on our website. So the actual item, the pictures you're looking at, is the item that you will receive. So we do things a little bit differently and make sure that you see the pictures of the actual item you're going to buy. And this particular item is available on the Miles Touch website, which you can get to very simply by clicking the link below. It will take you straight to the website, where you'll be able to find this and many other vintage children's annuals, and many other vintage toys, games and collectibles come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on the website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I am absolutely positive that this is something that you're not going to want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new products which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there's something in particular you are looking for, something old that you never been able to find, something quirky that you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long lost childhood memories, well, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know, the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this wonderful, wonderful old book with me. Thank you for watching, and we will see you again next video. So bye for now.